I grew up in Southern Appalachia, western North Carolina, about 30 minutes outside Asheville. The Appalachian Mountains are among the oldest on the planet, boasting rock formations that are over 1 billion years old, existing long before terrestrial animals ever roamed. Naturally, in areas as ancient as these, strange and inexplicable events occur, some benign and some sinister. For instance, the Brown Mountain Lights. Every time I've seen them from Wiseman's View, I've felt no threat, merely a neutral presence. Similarly, there's that warm and uplifting energy you sometimes experience when walking through an abandoned church near my parents' property line, reminiscent of the first pleasantly warm day of summer, when nothing feels too hot or too cold. However, what I'm about to recount isn't one of those benign anomalies. It's an encounter with something decidedly malevolent. Around 10 years ago, while attending night school at AB Tech to study automotive mechanics, I would finish my part-time job, head to class by about 2 p.m., and typically return home around 10:30 p.m. in my old 1973 Dodge W200 pickup. Most nights, I drove the same route, but sometimes I'd switch things up by taking a back road off I-40. That particular Thursday, I decided to stick to I-40 because I planned to get home early and sleep well to prepare for an early morning hike to catch the sunrise. As I took the exit toward my parents' home, the night suddenly seemed to darken, and the usual sounds of animals outside my rolled-down windows vanished. The cab of my truck felt claustrophobic, and my breathing quickened, anxiety I'd never known before. I came to a stop on the exit ramp, and noticed, as I turned onto the road, that the gas station near my parents', a 24-hour truck stop, was inexplicably dark. I assumed it was just a power outage, and dismissed it, though the feeling that something was amiss wouldn't leave me. I continued slowly, shifting gears carefully so as not to create extra noise with my already aging pickup. Leaning over the steering wheel to look up at the moon, I also noticed that the sky was unusually starless, a rarity in our clear Appalachian night skies where the Milky Way usually shines bright. As I rounded a sharp left-hand curve and cruised along a straight stretch before the next turn, I observed the familiar, decaying barn that had always caught my eye. It struck me how ancient that structure was, having witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations. Suddenly, for a split second, a massive, sickly-looking dog darted directly in front of my truck, no more than 10 feet away. My old truck, Old Betsy, wasn't built for sudden stops. I heard a resounding thump-thump as the impact jolted me. Fence posts I'd left in the truck bed rattled and bounced back in. My immediate worry was over having hit someone's dog, knowing how quickly neighbors in these parts can take offense. Then, as the smell of burning rubber filled my nostrils, a new unmistakable odor reached me, the rank stench of rotting flesh. At first I brushed it off as some decaying roadkill, until the realization struck me to check on the dog's owner. I pushed in the clutch, shifted into reverse, and peered into my rear-view mirror. Illuminated by the glow of my reverse lamps, I caught sight of the same dog again, but this time it wasn't on all fours. It stood upright like a man, towering over my truck, which measured only about 5 feet tall at the front, yet the creature was about 5 feet at the shoulder on all fours. The creature was a bizarre fusion. It wasn't solely a dog or a man, but something entirely separate. Its emaciated body was draped in loose, sagging skin, with matted dirt and fur clinging like a disease. Its right arm appeared longer than its left, both resting unnaturally low. The creature's face was human-like, yet the edges seemed to shift and blur, as if viewed at a microscopic scale. Where eyes should have been were only dark, empty sockets, and its skin was a cold, lifeless gray. Its nose looked compressed, much like a bulldog's, yet its mouth was filled with a chaotic array of teeth that appeared almost as if they were trying to break free. Time seemed to stand still as it gazed straight at me through the mirror. Its presence felt like it pierced directly into my soul. Those paralyzed seconds ended when a light from the neighboring house came on, causing the creature to fix its attention in that direction, before bolting into the woods on its hind legs, upright like a man. I immediately shifted gears, first gear, then second, and drove home as fast as I dared, burning tires along the way. When I reached home, both of my parents were fast asleep. I rushed downstairs, armed myself with every firearm I owned, and secured all the doors. I couldn't risk waking them up. After all, who would believe my account at 10:30 on a Thursday night? That basement felt eerily silent, more so than usual. Even the dogs, notorious for their occasional nighttime ruckus, were hushed. The house, with its old post and beam structure, remained unnervingly quiet. Around 3 a.m., just as I began to succumb to sleep, the putrid stench of death returned, first faint, then overwhelmingly intense. I told myself I was losing my mind, that none of it was real. Yet, as I lingered with the smell filling the space, I couldn't ignore its presence. I grabbed my little tactical 12-gauge, and keeping my flashlight low under my hand to remain unnoticed, crept from my room to my father's office in the basement, a room with 2 large glass doors facing the vast 500,000-acre Pisgah National Forest. As I shone the light through the glass, I saw it, motionless at the edge of the woods. Without missing a beat, I rushed to the outdoor floodlights, only to see that the creature had moved. It was now positioned between our house and the forest edge. In a desperate panic, I threw open the door, and fired every round I had in its direction. The creature let out an unearthly, shrieking cry, reminiscent of the sound of a woman being violently slaughtered, before darting back into the woods. The commotion sent the dogs into a frenzy, and my parents eventually awakened, questioning my sudden barrage of gunfire. I lied, telling them a bear had gotten into our trash, knowing full well they wouldn't believe the truth. I didn't sleep a wink that night, or for days thereafter, until normalcy slowly crept back by the following Sunday. Years later, I met my wife, whose family hailed from near my old home. Her mother's house was at the mouth of the same holler, just 4 or 5 miles away from where my parents lived. On her property, there were old kennels once used for her brother's hunting dogs. Although the dogs were long gone, the chain-link fence and concrete pad remained, a remnant of a utilitarian past. One incident left her Great Pyrenees quarantined at those kennels following a tussle with a raccoon and a lapse in his rabies vaccination, though the dog seemed unbothered by the isolation. That fateful night, after returning from a movie date in a nearby town, we walked along the trail with the quarantined dog. As we used our phone flashlights to navigate, I felt that familiar, unsettling sensation, the same anxiety I'd experienced that night years ago. My wife made a half-joking comment about how I smelled, which barely broke through my internal terror as I tried to shake off the horrific memories. She instinctively understood what was wrong without my having to explain. As we neared the lighted house along the trail, we began to hear a barking sound, a perfect mimic of our Great Pyrenees bark. The dog, ever the guardian, sensed danger, and turned to face whatever was lurking, issuing low guttural barks and growls. I know how challenging it is to wrestle a 150-pound dog. I struggled to control him so he wouldn't bolt further into the dark woods. The barking persisted relentlessly as we sprinted toward the house, growing closer and louder with each step, until it felt as if it was emanating from within my own head. At last, as we reached the fenced yard, the floodlights snapped on, and for a fleeting moment, I caught sight of something halting at the boundary of the light, before it wheeled around and shot off into the darkness. My wife and I exchanged a knowing look, and she finally asked, "Do you want to tell me what that was?" With a resigned nod, I affirmed, "Yes, let's go inside." I recounted the entire harrowing tale to her, word for word. Her family, with deep roots in Appalachian traditions, including granny witches and other supernatural healers, immediately took the threat seriously. The following morning, her older sister arrived bearing herbs and chanting rituals to bless the property and attempt to ward off the malevolent entity. I suggested we include the old kennels, and when we reached them, they were in ruins. The concrete foundation was cracked, the chain-link fence torn from its posts, and the dreadful odor persisted. With quiet assurance, her sister completed the blessing, and sternly instructed us that we should never venture into the woods after dark, until this creature had completely ceased its harassment of me. In time, my wife joined the military, and was stationed in Delaware. We soon moved to a small, quiet community there, grateful to leave the mysterious and energetic wilderness of Appalachia behind. The Delaware land, with its sparse, lifeless woods, felt markedly different from the vibrant, almost sentient wilderness of my home. Life began to settle down again, until last night. While outside with the dogs, I built a sizable fire in my fire pit, and sipped some Appalachian mountain cough syrup from a mason jar. As the fire's glow dimmed, my American bulldog suddenly bolted toward the woods. Accustomed to his escapades, I instinctively chased after him, tackling his hefty 110-pound frame, and throwing him over my shoulder in a fireman's carry. But then I heard it, a bark, yet not his bark. Instead, it was a deep rumbling growl, a sound I had never heard before from him. The threatening noise confirmed that something was terribly wrong, and as I carried him back to the house, the overpowering stench of death began to fill the air again. The other two dogs quickly joined the chaos, meeting me at the back door, which I flung open, slammed shut, and locked after I hurried inside, firearms once more in hand. Flipping on the floodlights at the back of the house, I saw that several bushes and small trees along the forest's edge were trembling, as if something had just raced through them. My dogs barked and howled throughout the night, trying to alert me to the unseen menace. I haven't slept since, and I doubt I will for a while. Somehow, that horrifying thing has followed us all the way 650 miles, its presence a reminder that until it disappears, I won't ever willingly step into the dark woods again.
If you liked the video, don't forget to like and share. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this.